Our guest on this topic is Roberto Robles, Senior Associate at Global Counsel Europe. Earlier, he told us if this is the end of Catalonia's independence movement and what to make of Puigdemont's speech.
In terms of Puigdemont's speech, I think it's interesting what he omitted as opposed to what he said. And it is interesting that the key point of the government's implementation of Article 155 yesterday was the calling of early elections in the region for the 21st of December. And that is the one thing that he didn't talk about in his very brief statement. And I think that reflects probably the discussions that are going on within the pro-independence movement as to whether to participate in these elections. Of course, it's worth remembering that the pro-independence camp is formed of 3 different political parties. And the coup on the far left, they may very well decide to boycott these elections. But the other 2 main parties, Puigdemont's party, the Democratic Party of Catalonia, and the Republican left, are probably still deciding whether to participate, because on the one hand, they may assess that participating in these elections may actually just legitimize the government's application of Article 155. But of course, if they decide to boycott them, then they would miss an opportunity to actually hold power in the region and just simply give it away to the pro-constitution parties in the region, namely the People's Party, the Socialist Party, and Ciudadanos. So nevertheless, I'm not quite sure that I would say the pro-independence movement is over, but it will have to change its strategy. And I think at the moment, right now, there is probably disagreement within the camp as to whether to kind of take this fight to the streets, if you like, as some people may advocate, or simply just choose to ignore the orders that are coming from the central government to the Catalan public servants.
Now, a lot of big companies like CaixaBank, for example, other local companies have moved their headquarters out of Catalonia in the past few weeks, ever since that October 1st referendum. Tell us about the effects of this movement on Catalonia's economy in the short and medium term.
Well, I think it's hard to tell so far what hit it's had on the economy yet, because it's obviously far too soon for it to have figured into economic statistics, but it has nevertheless had an enormous impact on business confidence in Catalonia. And many of these businesses that are leaving the region, such as CaixaBank, which is moving to Valencia, they've said that this move is not temporary. And so far, many of them have only moved their registered and their tax office. Some may eventually choose to leave and relocate their headquarters altogether. Now, I think what this does is it probably hinders the argument of many of the pro-independence parties that argued that, because of Catalonia's wealth, it could thrive under independence. And my view is that the shifting of so many companies out of the region has definitely had an impact on that. And probably many people in the previously have supported independence, but are perhaps more on the moderate side of that school of thought, maybe having second thoughts now, seeing the impact that it's having, that may eventually have on Catalonia's economy.